Vadge, Vadge, Vadge. What you gonna do when it's hot outside? Ooh, I know what. Listen to Vadge. What you gonna do when the trains are down? Ooh, I know what. Listen to Vadge.
Oh my God, your hair's so long and curly.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
great.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of that. But it's like I've got like there's something about Mary fistfuls of gel keeping this down.
I mean, what are you gelling it for? Aren't you just in the house?
Because I'm otherwise I would have it like a Jufro out to here.
Yeah, but you're a Jew.
You look like a guy that works on his motorcycle.
That is the last thing that I am.
You look like a guy that has a motorcycle and then watches somebody else repair it.
Yeah, for sure. If I had the balls to ride a motorcycle, there's no way I would know how to fix it.
You could get one. I think you could pull it off.
You think?
For sure.
Yeah. I've told this story before, but I had a motorcycle briefly in my early 20s. I bought a motorcycle for a boyfriend because he wrecked his car during the day. With him, he was going to pay me back, but he never did. So I ended up getting a Kawasaki Vulcan 750. And I didn't know how to ride it. And I was selling it, but it was sitting in our garage. And my dad's like, Sarah, you can't have a car or like a motorcycle sit in the garage as long as this. You got to ride it around. So I would get my friend who knew how to ride motorcycles just drive me around the suburbs.
Just to keep it going.
Yeah, just to keep it going. But it's just like, it was a dark period. But I did, it was one of those like the Vulcan with the handlebars that were up here.
My dad had a motorcycle, and I guess when he had brain cancer and before anyone knew he had it, he was like riding his motorcycle and he somehow jammed the key in it. And it's been in my mother's garage for probably almost 20 years now. My mother keeps saying we're going to sell it. I'm like, there's no way anyone's going to buy it. It hasn't been turned on for 20 years. But we keep in the back of our heads, keep thinking that it's a gold mine. Or we're going to sell it for like $1 million.
Not yet.
Yeah.
It's always like, not yet. We're not there yet, but.
That's going to be like your inheritance.
It probably is. That's going to be worth junk. That's the worst part, when you get inheritance and it just takes up a big chunk of space.
Yeah. Yeah, when your inheritance is like, now you got to go clean out a garage.
My dad used to tell me he was going to give me his baseball card collection, like when he died, and I was like, no thanks.
Those things are so big and they take up so much space, and then most of it's not worth shit.
I remember my dad had at the same time got a camcorder and also started collecting cards, and there's just hours of me turning pages in his book of cards. Like hours of me just flipping pages in this book full of dumb baseball cards.
Ken, do you collect baseball cards?
I don't collect baseball cards.
No. I had a boyfriend that did. He liked Don Mattingly from the Mets. Had a mustache. He's kind of, I guess, well known, but I always was like, this is kind of gay that you have books dedicated to one guy that you flip through and look at.
I don't, anytime I see a dude, like, I get if you're at a game and you wear a jersey to the game, but like if I'm ever in a bar and I see a dude wearing a jersey, I always think it's the weirdest thing.
It is, isn't it?
Yes. Because it's like you're a grown man pretending to be a different grown man. Was your astronaut suit at the dry cleaner? Like, you didn't feel like being a cowboy today?
Yeah, where you're like, oh my God, are you Michael Jordan? But like, you've gained so much weight.
I always think that anytime a guy's wearing another guy's jersey, that's the dude that can take your husband or boyfriend from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
Well, especially in high school, wasn't it when you wore like if you wore the guy's varsity jacket, that usually meant that you were dating him. So it's like guys are secretly telling us that they're dating Michael Jordan, or they took their virginity.
Like Michael Jordan's dating a lot of people.
Yeah. I only say Michael Jordan because that's the only sports figure guy that can think of right now.
Well, he's my favorite because we have the same birthday.
Do you guys really?
Me, him, and Paris Hilton, February 17th.
Wow. You guys are kindred spirits.
The three of us.
That's pretty good.
Ken, where are you staying at? Where are you at? Where do you live?
I'm in New Jersey in my house.
Nice.
We're
How
down.
is it?
Do you feel like before quarantine, everyone that like lived in Manhattan was kind of snooty, and now that you have a house that you can walk around in during quarantine, don't you want to tell everyone like, hey, fuck you?
Yes, yeah, a little bit for sure.
Fuck us in our tiny little apartments.
Well, we came from I was in a 2-bedroom apartment with a wife and a kid up until August of last year. So if this had come like 8 months earlier, I
God.
for sure would have suicided by now.
Oh,
For sure.
yeah.
It's hard to be in a small space, especially I would think with a kid and a wife during this.
Yeah. No, even being in a big space is kind of hard.
Is
For
it
sure.
really? Do you go in the yard a lot?
Do I what?
Do you go in the yard a lot now?
I have fully embraced my inner white trash. I have a beach chair that I set up in my driveway on the nice days. Kiddie pool, fill it up. Yeah.
But the kiddie pool secretly for you.
Yes. As soon as they get out and go inside, I just roll around in it.
That doesn't seem like a bad idea.
No, that sounds really great. I'd sit in a kiddie pool right now.
For sure. I think Zuzu would love a kiddie pool. When we were younger, we lived in an apartment building, and obviously we didn't have like a pool, so we would just turn the fire hydrant on. But I remember we were washing cars and like trying to raise money, and what a wait. I think it took like almost an hour to wash each car. What just like a waste of water. That's not really an effective way to wash a car.
I
To have kids do it?
Would you say?
To have kids wash?
Yeah, there's a bunch of kids on the block, and we would just wash a car for like an hour. Everyone on that block just hated the other people because if someone stopped, they kind of just blocked the whole road.
Yeah.
What would you charge for a car?
I don't know. I think people just tipped us. I remember my mom was real pissed though because we didn't have like a dryer, and I just let everyone come upstairs and take showers after. And she was just so mad because she's like, they have to wash all these towels. We don't even have a dryer for them. It was, I guess as a kid, I didn't realize that like we were kind of poor because everyone else that I kind of was friends with was also kind of poor.
You
Right.
don't
Yeah.
know.
So you don't realize.
Yeah. Where did you grow up, Ken? You grew up in Jersey, right?
I grew up in Jersey, Central
What part?
Jersey, a town called East Brunswick.
Is that
When
close
I
to
grew
the
up,
Stress Factory?
Yeah, it is. So there's a bunch of different Brunswicks, but I grew up in East Brunswick. Stress Factory is in New Brunswick. So,
Oh, okay.
but I used to live by. Yes, yeah. When I grew up, it was all Jews, and now it's all I think like Indians and Asians.
So where have all the Jews migrated to?
I don't. They didn't tell me.
You weren't Jewish enough? They kept you out of the email?
They're like, don't
Yeah.
let Ken know we're leaving.
Yeah, yeah. I think they recognized me as not a really great Jew, and got out of town.
Yeah.
Were you religious growing up?
It's weird. So we're like Reform Jews. So like my mom would get super religious like 3 times a year, like just for the important holidays. But
Yeah.
then would ignore all of it the rest of the time. But then somehow I was supposed to think that like those 3 days a year were super important.
I think that's kind of how, like, my grandmother's Jewish, and she didn't really do anything Jewish.
Yeah.
Like,
I had to do Hebrew school and get bar mitzvahed and all that, which I hated. I'm still angry about going to Hebrew school. I hated it so much.
is that kind of like CCD, but for Jews?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have to go every Wednesday?
I would go, it started out like every Sunday, and then as you get closer to your bar mitzvah, it would be like every Sunday and Tuesday or Wednesday night. I couldn't grasp like doing a full day of school and then going
It's
to another
so much,
school.
it's so much sitting. Did you ever think of a possible school shooting at Hebrew school?
No, but one time somebody called in a bomb threat to Hebrew school.
Ooh.
I don't know, but if they're listening, thank you. They
How long
called
did you
it
get out of
like
school
we
for?
got to Hebrew school. We were there for like 5 minutes, and then someone came in and was like, we're calling everyone's parents to come get you. Somebody phoned in a bomb threat, and we were like, it was in and out in 15 minutes, and that's still my favorite Hebrew school memory.
Oh yeah, we had I think I remember one bomb threat at our school, and it was exciting. And it was nothing. It was just taped up like cardboard toilet rolls that kids just put in a trash can, but they have to take that stuff seriously.
Oh, like
I don't think
somebody
we ever
actually
had any.
planted something to make it look like a bomb?
Yeah, but it wasn't anything. But I mean, even if you do a bomb threat, they still have to they have to take it seriously, even though nothing happened. So we got the whole, like half a day off.
Yeah,
That's pretty
that's
great.
great.
Yeah. I was like, why aren't we
I don't think we
doing
ever
this
had.
more often? And this is pre cell phone or GPS location. Like these are landlines. So you could do it from a payphone from a gas station and then
Right.
kind of get
The good
away
old
with
days.
it. Yeah.
We never had bomb threats, but I went to Catholic school, and every morning we had a line up in the auditorium and listen to this nun talk about Christ for a while. And sometimes someone would faint, and that was kind of like my bomb threat, because that meant it would be over sooner. You're just
Yeah.
standing there for like 25 minutes to 45 minutes listening to this nun talk about garbage nobody cares about, and randomly somebody would just fall. And it was so great. And my mom would always be late.
Go ahead.
My mom would always be late to take us to school, so we'd always have to be the embarrassing people that were like knocking on the door to get let in late.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Hebrew school, they would teach you Hebrew. This is the weirdest thing. Like, they would teach you another language. They would teach you how to read it, but they don't teach you how to interpret it. So, like, you could see the letters and recognize them and sound them out, but you have no idea what you're saying. It was like sort of teaching you another language.
And then you would present it during your bar mitzvah, right? Like
Right.
what you
Yeah,
memorized?
and then you would just read. Right. Yeah, which was just memorized anyway.
And then were
But it
you
was weird.
like, I don't
They
know what
teach
I'm
you how to read a
saying?
language. Exactly. Yeah. So they
Yeah.
teach you how to read it, but you have no idea what it is you're reading.
Oh, that's weird. Because
Yeah.
then you could be saying anything and not
Right.
know what you're saying.
Yeah. You could be activating sleeper cells. You have no idea. You have no idea what you're doing. I know my mom has, I think I told Adrian this story once, but my mom for years was after my brother and I to like go back to temple on the holidays. Like once I got old enough to be like, oh, you can't force me to go, I just stopped going. And so for years she was trying to get us to go. And then my brother one year was like, look, why don't we just both go? We'll take the hit together and it'll get her off our backs for a little bit. So we agreed to go. And it'd been maybe like 10 years since I'd been to temple. So I hadn't seen the rabbi in a really long time. And he was a mess. Like he was not the guy I remembered. He came waddling up to the thing. He was like 300 something pounds. He looked awful. And I turned to my brother and I was like, Rabbi, more like the ribeye.
Nice.
My brother
Good one.
my brother started laughing so hard. And then my other brother turned and asked what I just said. So I repeated it. And then he started laughing. And you know that thing like when you're somewhere laughing where you're not supposed to be and you can't control it?
The best.
The three of us were dying, like howling with laughter, like tears coming down, people turning to shush us. Like, and we were in the middle of the aisle. You couldn't just get up and leave real quick. Everybody was
kicked out?
turning and shaming us. My mom hasn't asked me to go back to temple since, though.
That's the best thing you could have ever done.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
you ended on a
when I-
zinger.
Yeah.
That's the best way to get out of it. I went to Catholic school, and I think I went through up until high school, and then they used to have like these priests just come in and talk to us about, I guess, God. I have no idea, but there was this one priest, Father Joe, who had really big bug eyes and a big nose, and he would sit on the table kind of seductively, which is gross. But like I remember he told this class of like 5th graders that dogs didn't go to heaven, and we all lost our shit. Like that was not something you should tell a bunch of 5th graders. We went nuts. Like it was like this guy told us he had murdered all of our dogs. Why would you do that to like a bunch of 5th graders and tell them that your dogs don't go to heaven?
Are they
We're
like
so
Jews?
mad.
Do they all go to hell, or do they just not go anywhere?
I think he just said they didn't go anywhere. We were beside ourselves. We were so mad.
Yeah, it's horrific.
It was one of the only times I think the boys and the girls joined forces. We were so mad at this guy that he had to get up and leave.
I don't understand why a God would not let dogs into heaven.
Why would he just lie? I don't know what's true or not true, but like just tell us like dogs go to heaven. Who cares?
Yeah.
We're in 5th
Lie,
grade.
or even, you know what? I'll look into it. Like I
Yeah.
I'll make some
That's
calls.
good. Or
Yeah.
even say, look, I'm working on getting the laws changed. Anything to tell us we're in 5th grade.
Or like a special heaven. Just make up another area in heaven that dogs go to.
Right. Only if we're extra good do we get to see our dogs. Why wouldn't they just say something like that?
I know.
Yeah,
if you can lie to us about Santa Claus, then you can lie to us about dogs going to heaven.
All religion's made up. If you're lying about Jesus being on a dumb cross, you can lie about heaven for dogs.
Yeah, you can make an exception for dog lies.
What a waste of time going to Catholic school. I wish I had known earlier that I could have said like a priest or a nun raped me so I could have gotten out of Catholic school.
You didn't know.
No one tells you as a kid that's a way to get out of going.
Yeah, all that stuff came out later.
I wish I had an older sibling who could have told me that. You know, like your parents would get remarried and then they decide to have a kid. I wish I had like my mom was married before me and I had like a 15 or 20-year-old kid that could have told me that.
that could have told you to fake being raped out of
fake molestation.
Well, my friend, she's Catholic and they're raising their kids Catholic, and so he does those classes. And he started doing confession, and she's like, George hates it. And we were like, why? But then when you think about it, you're like, it's so weird to be a little boy and you're telling a grown man your secrets that you don't even know, really. It's disturbing if you think about it.
I did that penance. I wish I remembered what my secrets were at this point now.
Like, what impure thoughts are you having at that age?
I think I told him that I hated going to church. And I had to do a bunch of prayers.
When you want your kid to be like, I murdered my whole family, or do something that's like outrageous.
Like put your kid up to it for a joke.
Yeah.
My daughter has an imaginary friend that I'm not even making this up. I'm pretty sure her imaginary friend killed her whole family.
What a great imagination.
It was a few months ago. It was like before the COVID outbreak, and I was driving her to daycare, and she keeps a toy cell phone in the car because I guess she likes to make her calls from the road. And
save time.
She gets on the phone and I hear her, the phone rings, she presses the button to make it ring, and then I hear her say like, hello. And then she says, what? Your brother's dead? Your sister's dead? Your mother and father are dead and your baby's dead? And then this was the best part. This is the thing that like almost made me crash. She goes,
Wow.
again? Like,
Again, they
That is some drama.
yeah. And then she goes like, and then she was like annoyed and she was like, all right, well, I got to go. And she hung up and I'm trying not to, like, I don't know what to do. Like, do I just open up the door and like roll out of the car? And so I was like, honey, who are you talking to? She was like, Angela. And
Wow.
I said, who's Angela? She was like, my pretend friend. And I was like, your pretend friend is killing her families. You get that, right? Like,
any Angela I know, I don't really like, so I get that.
Yeah, they can't be trusted.
I got into a fist fight with a girl named Angela, so maybe it was her.
maybe. Was she an orphan?
I don't know. She might have been.
I love that.
Did you
your
ask her how
daughter
they
is-
died?
I didn't want to it was like that weird, like, I don't know if this is hilarious or the most disturbing thing that I've ever come across. And I didn't want to ask too many questions.
See,
But
I
also,
would
like, I didn't want to
good
be
in
an
that
accessory
situation.
after the fact, you know?
Yeah. In that situation, I would have just pressed and asked the hard questions. How did they die? Do you ever think of killing me and Mom? That would probably be my follow-up question.
I like
I
that
didn't even
she's
think.
just annoyed.
Didn't even occur to me that I might not be safe. Yes, yeah, she was super annoyed, but the fact that she was like, again, like, your family just keeps getting killed. Like,
This is on you. Like, this is your like, once this fine that happens, but like if your family keeps getting murdered,
right.
like,
Yeah.
maybe it's your fault, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
like
right.
that.
Like, murder my family once, shame on you. Murder them twice, shame. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I like how she was annoyed by their drama, though.
Yes.
Yeah, like she's too busy to deal with this bullshit
She's like,
right now.
again. How old is she? Is she like
encourage
4?
it.
She's 4 now.
I like it. I say it's fine and see where it goes.
I would just.
She's loving this pandemic. Like, this
Is
is
she
her,
really?
it's her favorite time ever to be alive. Like, she doesn't have to go to daycare. And she, you know, like, she wasn't in school, I guess, like, starting at kindergarten, you have to like officially do homeschooling and do the lesson plans that the teachers send. So there's no homeschooling. It's just like wake up and play and everybody's home.
It's
She loves it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Is she hanging out with friends?
Yeah, there's a bunch of kids her age that live, you know, like right on our street, right next to us. So
Yeah.
it's just like a little gang. When it's nice enough to sit on my driveway, that's
She's
where
gonna be in for a real letdown when she has to go back to school.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I heard that people aren't probably going back to school though until like 2021.
Yeah. Some of my neighbors here are teachers, and they've been saying that they're being told to prepare, like there might not be like a physical school year next year. It'll all be online.
That's insane. I feel like as Americans too, we're already so dumb that we really can't risk kids not going back to school for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a major setback for an entire generation, for sure.
We're going to come in like second to last in education.
And I bet China's still going to kick our ass in like education and being smart. Are they back in school?
They've been doing a lot of online classes where I read an article, some of the kids figured out something about giving a bad Yelp review, it cancels the class. So all of them were giving bad Yelp reviews.
In China?
Yeah, you're like, they're so smart.
Yeah, but maybe they're going to be just as dumb as us, though.
I worked with a guy that was from China, a Chinese guy, and he was the worst employee I've ever worked with.
That's crazy.
Because there's always the stereotype that they're like hardworking and really smart, and I was like, way to break the mold. Like, I did a really good job.
I worked with an Asian woman who was rich and didn't need to work, and she worked at like the worst job ever. It was like being a collection agency she worked at.
Yeah,
Why was
everybody
she
hates
working
it.
if she didn't
I
need
don't know if she not only did she not need to work, her husband was like a really high up neurologist, like surgeon or something. So like he was kind of famous in his field, and they didn't have any kids, but so she worked for the love of it, which is nuts. And
That's
she also
insane.
worked. She also worked on the weekend too. Like she didn't need to work at all, and she had 2 jobs.
He was probably beating her. Like there had to have been a reason she wanted out of the house.
I don't think so.
Or-
She was thin, and she would go to the gym during lunch break. And then when they had closed the gym for renovation, she was just running up and down the stairs. Like she was so motivated, it made me feel even lazier.
Yeah. I can't stand hanging around people like that. It makes you feel like a piece of shit.
I know.
I can't imagine like you're gonna squeeze, like you're gonna work a full day and squeeze the gym in there. That's
Yeah.
that would.
And
that
then
would
when the gym was
anger me.
closed, she was just running up and down the stairs.
That's how
She
I
was
feel
amazing.
about if I was, like you hear those stories of like people when they date a guy that has no arms and legs, but he's in like the Paralympics or whatever, that you're like, great.
Man.
I can't complain about anything if I'm dating you. Like that's all I think about when I see those cases. Like that guy would suck.
I love
Oh,
when you
yeah,
hear
he would
people say things like, "Well, they can do anything that you can do," and it's like, anything? Like
Yeah, I don't need wheels. Like I think I can run a
That's
mile
not-
faster than you.
If you have no arms and legs, you're basically just a torso.
Yeah, you're like a baseball base. With a
Just
head.
have a bunch of bases of torsos.
You're like, is that the sport that you're in? Like for the Paralympic? Like, I don't get it. It is amazing when you see those guys because they roll really fast.
Oh, kind of like probably like puppies. You ever see that video of the little pugs that are trying to race each other and they're just kind of on their stomachs? I picture it like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gotta be weird too that like someone has to pick you up like a child all the time and just carry you.
Yeah.
I saw something on the news.
I guess I would get a little handle put on me so if somebody needed to carry me, they could just pick me up by my
Like
handle.
a suitcase.
Yeah, or wear like a backpack thing so on the back when I need to go,
they
you
can
just pick me up like this, like a gym bag.
Or a parachute.
I saw on the news this lady with no arms who learned how to fly planes.
Insane.
Why?
She she flew the plane with her feet. Like she would do all the controls with her feet.
Was this a commercial airline?
What's
No,
crazy is
but could you imagine, like, if it was any, like, even forgetting commercial airline, like, who in their right mind is getting on that plane?
I don't know, but
The
I
weird
love
thing
the
is-
idea of like you can't. People would get mad at you if you're like, I can't go on this plane with this woman that's flying it with feet, and then they're like, don't be a misogynist.
Yeah.
Like you can't. You
Or
have
just
you have to
off-
just deal with it because people think you're like being hateful or something.
Right. That's fine. I'll let them think I'm hateful and still
Yeah.
be on the ground. I'll lean into it. I'll be like, I'm not getting on a fucking lady pilot. Are you kidding me? You're like, well, she doesn't have
Hey, you
arms.
get
Like, oh, she does.
canceled.
I didn't realize she didn't have arms.
What were you
Imagine
gonna say,
all
Adrian?
all the woke people who would be like, you can't discriminate against her.
Yeah.
And then you just have to fly the whole time on a plane hoping it doesn't crash.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen in the movies when the plane starts to go down, the arms become super useful. Like the pilots are doing so much shit with the arms.
Well,
I
that's
feel
what
like,
Yeah,
you
you feel like you can't just be like this.
right. Yeah. There's no way Sully lands that thing on the Hudson River with just his fucking feet.
Oh my God, he would be so beloved if that's how he did it. Did you see that movie? It's awful.
Yeah,
They
they
took, like,
tried to
a-
make it so much more like dramatic and tense.
Yeah, it should have been a short film. Like they put so many flashbacks in there, and then like had him on the phone with his wife the whole time, and you're like, she didn't even need to be in this movie. Like, it's so
Was that the-
pointless.
Was that the one with Denzel Washington where he gets drunk first?
No, that was Flight.
No.
Sully's about the guy that landed that plane in the Hudson River.
On the Hudson with Tom
Oh,
Hanks.
that's right. Okay. And everyone didn't they make it really hard for that guy too? Like he had to go through. Is that based on? That's based on a true story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he landed the plane on the Hudson and nobody got hurt.
I know,
And
but
I
they still
bet
made
if
him.
you asked him, he would have told you that arms were a super important part of everybody landing safe.
If I landed a plane and nobody died, I would be like, that was pure luck. I have no idea how that happened. Like I'm glad no one died, but there's no way I thought that was gonna happen. But he went to trial in that movie because they were like trying to still try him for stuff. We were like, what else do you want?
Yeah, they
just
were
let
like,
him be.
like he didn't follow the regulations or something.
Yeah, but like they might have been dead then.
Yeah, dumb. That movie was dumb. The story's neat, but like that movie was a big turd.
I like the movie. I like the movie with Denzel Washington where he's doing coke and
Yeah, oh yeah,
Right.
in the hotel room, right? Like wasn't John Goodman the drug dealer or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that movie was
Yes.
good. That was called Flight.
Right. See,
I
that had
like
been
that one.
if they had merged those two movies, it would have been
ooh, that'd have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Sully had a drinking problem,
right.
that
If
would have been
Sully
a
was
way
doing
better
coke.
movie.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did after he landed that flight. I would definitely start drinking.
I know. How are you supposed to ever achieve that high again except with speed?
I don't know.
Do you know that guy that saved baby Jessica? Remember her in the
Oh, the
well?
one from the
The
well,
well?
yeah.
That guy committed suicide, and it was always said that that come down of being that hero and then going back to living in boring Midland, Texas was quite a drop from him.
Why wouldn't
Isn't
you
that a
just
crazy
join?
story?
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just join ISIS?
I don't know.
Like that seems
I
like
guess he
the way.
didn't know.
I'm sure,
That's
like,
so
why not just
unfortunate.
start throwing babies down a well and rescuing them? I guess if he did it a second time, it's suspicious, right?
Yeah. You're like, huh? That's crazy that this guy saved
Again?
another baby down a well. It's almost like I
Another
think about
well
that
baby?
story. You're like, how the fuck did that baby get in that well? How do you just let your baby hang out in the backyard by itself?
I'm sure that somebody was like, "Hey, do you think we should close the top of the well?" And they're like, "There's no way she's gonna get into the well." And then, like the conversation afterwards, probably like, "I told you should have put it." I don't want to say I told you so, but like I told you so.
She got
How do
into
you
the
think,
well.
like, afterwards, like, what do you think they did to correct it? Like, do you think they just put up, like, a no baby sign right in front? Or do they
They probably
actually
just-
Yeah.
fill it?
They probably just put like those Con Ed cones.
Or like a fence, like you do around your pool, so you don't go in there. She has nothing. She never does interviews, which I also find very fascinating. Like, I don't know what she looks like to this day. She must be close to 40.
What would she
Interesting.
interview, though? Like, it's not like she can remember.
I would just make up a story.
Well, I guess because every 10 years, like People Magazine, they're always like, where are these people? What are they up to now? Like those Thailand boys are probably going to get like a follow-up 10 years from now. Those guys that got stuck in the cave.
Oh, yeah. They got a movie already, didn't they? Or was that
Did they?
I might be thinking of the mine. Was there, like, Chilean mine people?
Yeah,
that
there's
got-
Chilean.
Yeah.
Chilean miners.
Yes.
They
They got
got
the
stuck
movie.
down there. Yeah,
Yeah.
they got the movie. But I bet you Thai boys
Do you
is
think
going to
that
get a
guy,
movie too.
the guy that rescued baby Jessica, Do you think he killed himself too soon? He could have rescued those other people.
Yeah, because now he knows how to get into small spaces.
Yeah, it sucks. Speaking of which, I did message Tanya Harding about coming on the podcast. She has not read my message. I'm not sure how else I would get in touch with her.
You can go by her house. Where does she live?
That's
We
good
could pull
idea.
a
Maybe I'll
Michael
drive by
Moore.
and just stalk her.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
I'll
You know
just
what's
get
funny? We haven't introduced Ken.
Well, we just want
You
people
were
to
like,
guess
who
who
is
you
this
are.
guy? That's a game we play. We're like,
This
okay,
is now
guys,
when you can
who-
like roll the beginning credits and you're like, oh, now
Yeah.
it's just starting.
Just let people
Ken.
guess who he is. Guys, we have a really funny special guest.
Guess who it is? It's Ken.
He's white and Jewish.
White Jewish
New
comic in
Jersey.
his 40s. There's
Ken Krantz. Am I saying that last name right? Krantz?
yes, yeah.
It's not a typical
why-
Jewish name either.
You've known me a long time. I feel like you should have a grasp on my name.
Well, you know what? I've been saying Liz's last name wrong. I don't even want to say it right now. Last episode we talked about how I messed her name up. Yeah, I think it's just Mealy.
I thought it was Mealy. Mealy.
Wait.
Yeah,
I thought she was like one of your best friends.
exactly. So don't be offended. I don't know your last name.
I'm definitely not offended now.
Me and Ken became friends because we wrote this animated cartoon a couple years ago, and it was about kind of incorporating our stand-up into this pilot. And there was 4 of us doing it, and then slowly it was just me and Ken.
It dwindled over time.
Was it just because it's so hard to coordinate a show with 4 people when everyone's ideas are so different?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awful.
I remember, I think it was Kenny that wanted to have talking lamps or something, and then that was
You
kind of
gotta
what we just, and then right after that, it just became me and you. And I think that had something to do with it. It was the talking lamps where we were like, we can't have all these ideas. We're going to have to cut
so many good ideas. We're going to have to just.
so many good ideas.
It's
so
too
many
hard.
good ideas. I think we should just focus on mine and Adrian's right now.
We're like, talking lamps is just too ridiculous. It might have worked though.
Who were the other 2? Or is that secret?
Kenny Garcia
Okay.
and Joe Vesey.
Joe Vesey,
Okay.
who has gone on, he writes for like Adam Sandler now. Like
Yeah,
all these
he's like,
Netflix
I'll
movies.
show you guys.
Yeah. We were like, we don't need this fucking guy.
I'll
He was
show
like-
you guys. I'll show you guys. I'll be in a bunch of terrible movies. I mean, Adam Sandler's special I liked. A lot of his movies, though, are very hit or miss.
Yeah.
He just came out with one on Netflix that I haven't watched yet.
Yeah, I think I started watching it and then I stopped.
Okay. So
It wasn't
So
terrible.
different.
It's just not. It's just like
Oh wait, the Uncut Gems, is that the one you're talking about?
no, I saw that one and I have to say I hated his character so much. Did you see it?
I saw it. Yeah.
Uncut Gems. Oh, I don't
No.
want to give the ending, but I
Give
actually
the
liked
ending
how
away.
he got shot in the face and I was like, good.
That movie caused me so much anxiety. Like
No.
it
It's
made
so
me
weird.
so uncomfortable almost immediately. I went to see it before Angelo Lozada's memorial service at
Oh,
Gotham.
God.
So it was, but I walked out of that movie and I was like, oh, thank God I'm heading to a funeral. Like that will,
that will change your mood and put you in a good mood.
yeah.
I get it.
was like, oh, and it was the funeral, the memorial was way more fun than the movie.
Cathartic.
It's so
Yeah.
weird because I think Adam Sandler's so funny, but like some of the movies they put him in, you're just. Do you remember the first one he did on Netflix? I think he was a cowboy or something. It was really bad, and I was like, he's so funny and talented. I don't know what. I guess it's just money, but some things you're like, you could just say no.
I mean, he gets a insane amount of money.
Yeah, I think he
And
has a
then
deal with Netflix.
Yeah, and
I know, but
then his movies are the most watched things on it. So there's an audience. There's people.
I know, but he can make such good stuff. I don't know.
I mean, Uncut Gems isn't bad, but it's so anxiety inducing, and there's never a moment of relief
Right.
until he gets shot in the face.
Wait, what is it about?
It's a guy that has a gambling addiction that runs a one of those buzz-in jewelry stores.
He's like a diamond dealer. He's a diamond Jew in the
Yeah,
New York.
They're like Orthodox Jewish family, and so one of his family members is one of the guys he owes money to. It's like his brother-in-law, right?
Yeah.
And it's also about sports betting and stuff, but the whole time he's like playing two people against each other with the money, where he owes one and is trying to get money from the other or whatever, I guess. So
He's trying to win what he owes.
Yeah, in a small amount of time.
It sounds like my dad's life.
Yeah.
Minus getting shot in the head. But he did die of brain cancer, so I guess it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Shot in the head seems better. Like,
it's faster.
Faster.
He wasn't expecting it.
Right. I think that's the best way. I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah, when you're not expecting it.
Right. Just
People
here
like
1 second, gone the next.
People always ask that one question when they're like, do you want to know how you're going to die or when you're going to die? I'm like, of course, when. Wouldn't you rather know the date as opposed to how you're going to die?
You want to know when to stop paying your credit cards off.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just feel like I already live my life as a countdown anyway, that the idea of knowing the day I'm going to die to the T would be a fucking nightmare.
So you'd rather know how you're going to die.
Yeah.
Now, what if it's just in your bed in your sleep? Wouldn't you be terrified to go to bed every night?
True.
Just stay up.
Fuck, that would suck, because everyone says like that's the best way to die. But if you know it ahead of time,
yes,
you never want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
You'd be like those kids in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah.
Staying up and doing cocaine. Are you going to be doing cocaine as you drive to Texas?
No, probably just a lot of Diet Cokes and coffee.
When are you leaving? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning.
Are you excited for your trip?
Yeah, I am, because I've done the drive from Texas to LA, but I've never done a New York to Houston trip. So it's part of the country that I haven't seen.
Is Joe going with you, or it's just you and your sister?
It's just me and my sister.
A little girl time?
A little girl time, yeah. We'll probably fight for a little bit of it, or squabble, whatever you call it. Or minor disagreements, and then most of it will be fun. Or it'll probably be a lot of me trying to get her to videotape stuff for social media, and then I'll be kind of annoying about it.
So it sounds like she's going to go home and have lots of stories to tell on the phone to her friends.
Yeah.
About what a cunt you are.
Are you doing anything for the summer, Ken? Because you can drive, right? We don't have cars, so it's a little bit harder.
So I live right by the beach, and they have opened the beaches here. Yeah, but it's like when you see it on the news, when you see how many people are crammed onto the beach right now, it definitely causes a little anxiety. Yes. So like my next door neighbor goes every day, and I tell him, I'm like, if you're still here in a month, I'll go. Like I'll like I'll maybe towards the end of June or something, but no, right now I'm fully prepared to just be like home for the summer and like driveway kiddie pool.
Yeah. Because you can do. I mean, I feel like camping is safe with places that aren't that busy.
Quarantine would have to last the rest of my life before I was like, maybe camping would be something fun.
What about if you go glamping, where it's like it's a huge tent, but you have a rug.
Glamping,
and maybe an air conditioner.
Yeah. Yeah. If I can go camping like in a hotel, not in the middle of the woods.
What about a cabin? I would do that.
Cabin I would do.
I think camping's only fun if you're getting wasted, but when you don't have anything to do, you're like bored.
Yeah.
You're just sitting on a bench. I went camping last year, and Jonah and we would go eat dinner and then come back, and then we would have 8 hours of doing nothing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 8 hours of more dinner. I feel like that's all you could do camping is like get wrecked, do drugs, and eat and have sex.
Well, like I wouldn't mind if we were by like a lake so we could go swimming, but there's part of me that was like, if you're not drinking, I'd rather just take a sleeping pill and then sleep through the night and then wake up and go.
Or just take a Valium to sleep all weekend.
Yeah. Well, I made a little, propanol or whatever, the drug that Michael Jackson would get administered to him. That's really like a horse tranquilizer.
Yes.
I made a little commercial. It's to take propanol for while you're camping so you can just sleep away the discomfort.
See, that's like if you have to plan on how you can knock yourself out the entire time you're there, it's not that fun a thing to go do.
No, you need activities. Like you need like archery, and then maybe you have to kill an animal and then cook it. So that would take up some time. But if you already ate dinner for that day and then you come back to a cabin where you don't even have like, we bought a fitted sheet at a dollar store and then it's hot. And then the internet connection's not great, so you can't even be on your phone.
That sounds like a nightmare. Did you ever see that Reese Witherspoon movie where she hikes by herself, like really far?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
It was like
Wild or Into the Wild or something.
That's what that reminds me of.
My dad, when he was alive, he tried getting me to see that movie. He was, and the second he started describing it, I was like, I'm out. He was like, oh, it's this amazing movie. Like Reese Witherspoon goes hiking. I was like, out, done. You could stop.
It's not that great. You know what?
Yeah.
That's the type of movie you just watch on fast forward. Like if you could watch that in 5 minutes on fast forward, it's worth it.
Make it look like she's running instead of hiking.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's all. I think she does it because she's somebody dies and she becomes a whore and starts fucking everyone and she feels bad about it. Isn't that what happens?
So she goes to the woods.
That's how my dad should have sold it. Like that, I would have watched.
That's
I
like
think people had labeled.
Yeah.
I think people had labeled her as like a slut or something. Meanwhile, she was just having a good time. And then I think she goes on this long hike. I think she goes on this long hike to stop fucking people.
Yeah. I just like that if that's a natural progression for sluts, that they just go into the woods at the end. Like whenever you go hiking, you just see a bunch of sluts in the woods and you're like, oh, okay. You guys are on that phase of being a slut.
It's how you get them to stop. It's how you get them to stop sleeping around with their ex-boyfriend's best friends.
Yeah, go on
just
a hike.
send them to this hike where they're too tired and dehydrated. Yeah, I think that was based on a true story.
Well, I know.
I like how after that movie, everyone was thinking about hiking.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Ken?
If my dad had pitched it to me this way, I would have watched it that night. If he'd been like, Reese Witherspoon's tired of being a whore, so she has to go to the woods to stop being such a whore, I would have been like, now you've got my attention.
And like the first hour of the film is just Reese Witherspoon just getting like reamed by guys. And you're like, this movie rocks. And then you're like, wait till she gets to the woods. They're like, how do we sell this movie of Reese Witherspoon going to the woods? And you're like, can we just have her like suck a bunch of guys' dicks in the beginning? And they're like, perfect.
Yeah, they'll greenlight anything if the first hour is Reese Witherspoon getting railed.
Unfortunately, most of the movie is her on the hike. There's only a small portion of her getting fucked.
Spoiler alert.
Just letting you know. And then she gets married to someone else after her long hike.
Oh, so she figured it out in the woods?
I guess so. I don't know. At one point, she was really thirsty, I guess, and she was licking condensation off her tent.
Yikes. Then she's like, I gotta stop sucking all this dick.
Yes, I'm getting flashbacks.
It just feels like such a funny, like, I seriously doubt that girls that have that problem, as soon as they go into the woods, they see their ways.
Right.
I just feel like maybe, I was saying that I feel like you might have that realization, and then I bet you a week later you go back to sucking dicks again.
And you gotta just go on a longer hike the next time. It probably takes a lot of hikes to tire the whore out of you.
She's like, I know what I did wrong last time. What would you say, Adrian?
Probably 10 minutes into it, I'd be like, I'm done being a whore. I want to go back to a bed. I'm good.
That's gotta suck though, like when you get all the way out into like however far out you get where you're like, I think this hike has cured me and I don't think I'm a whore anymore. Like then you gotta get back.
I know.
What about on your hike though? You run out of supplies and you have to fuck a guy for the supply.
I know this hike was to knock the whore out of me, but I will suck one dick for a tent tonight
to get out of these woods.
But it's going to extend your hike by 4 months.
See, that's the movie I would have watched.
I think we could pitch a lot of movies and make them better.
Oh yeah.
But also, I've like no movie has ever made hiking look good. Like I've never seen a movie where a hike turned out well for anybody.
That's probably true.
Thinking. What's a really great hiking movie?
There's none where like the end of the movie are people like high-fiving like that hike was amazing. It's always It's always like a horror movie or a true story like when Emilio Hirsch went and died in that van in the middle of the woods or
oh yeah.
What was that one?
There's the other one with there's one in the 80s with Kevin Bacon and Meryl Streep, and like he's a camp counselor and they hate him and he breaks his leg or something. Is that right? Or did was that a dream? Yes.
Yeah, no, that was the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like adding a hike to a really great movie could also ruin it.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of The Godfather, if they're just on this hour hike.
Yeah, maybe Hollywood should just stop making movies about hiking. It's like a real bummer.
I mean, right now they're not making movies about anything, so I think we've won.
That's true.
Like Medea goes hiking. We're ready.
Yeah, Medea. But she's not gonna have that much interaction if she's just kind of by herself.
But she's gotta go on the whore hike.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It could be flashbacks.
Isn't she just gonna play all the other characters though?
All the animals that she encounters?
No, all the dudes that she has to potentially not fuck.
I don't think I've ever seen a Medea movie in my entire life. Am I racist?
No, I don't even think black people like those movies. I'm not sure who watches them.
Somebody's watching them because they keep making them.
They're making so much money. Is it just white people watching them?
I don't think I've ever heard anybody tell me like, oh, you know a movie you need to check out? and then it's a Medea movie.
They're like epic Greek tragedies. There's like incest that happens in them sometimes, or like,
Wait,
I don't
what?
know. And Medea, a lot of those Tyler Perry movies, they're like affairs and like, it's just epic family dramas.
Oh, I mean, that may be a good way to pitch him, because I didn't know that. I thought she's just going, like, hanging out with her family and going to church.
Yeah, like Medea fucks her brother, who is also played by Tyler Perry. That I would watch. I would watch that
too.
sex scene in slow-mo.
Man, I like any movie that has incest in it. I'm such a huge fan.
I think we all do.
It's a fascinating storyline that you don't see often in real life.
And you just don't see it coming. You're like, no way.
I mean, did you guys watch?
Pornhub's full of it.
I heard that's like the #1 category. It's so disturbing.
Yeah, like stepsister and stepmom porn.
There was a book
Yeah.
my grandmother loved, and I think it was about like something in the attic, and it's like a brother and sister that are locked in the attic, and I think they end up fucking.
Flowers in the
Flowers in the Attic.
Yes, and I think that was like
So
my
popular.
grandmother's like favorite book. It's weird that my grandmother's a Jewish woman loving a story about a brother and a sister getting like fucking in the attic, and then also, what's the other great hit about being locked up in the attic?
And Frank?
And Frank, yeah. Do you think that's why she liked it?
Yeah,
That's her favorite.
Jews have a thing with addicts.
It might be. I would have thought she would have been very upset by it, but she loved both of those books, I think.
It makes sense. I'm also trying to think of other movies that take place in the attic, and I think those are the only 2 storylines I know of.
I think so. And I think those were my grandmother's favorite books.
I'm thinking. Yeah, attic films aren't not as popular as they used to be.
It's weird that you have 2 choices, either fucking your brother or you're hiding from Nazis.
True. Why did they get locked in the attic? Were they
The brother
also
and
hiding from
sister?
Nazis? Yeah, the brother and sister. Were they locked up there by the family?
I think they were locked up there by their family. And I don't think they knew they were brother and sister. Or maybe they did.
Please don't ruin it for people. Let them think
You
they
know
know.
what I liked about that book? Remember when books would have a hole cut out and it would be one photo with the hole cut out with the faces, and then when you open the book, it would be a different kind of, you would see the dark side of what that book was about.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah. And then I also liked, I've always liked horror film covers on VHS tapes. Like, do you remember those? Like,
Yeah.
do you remember the April Fool's Day one with the braid?
Yeah,
that
the
was
braid.
shaped like a noose?
Yes.
And then and the knife behind her back, or then that movie Ants, which was just tits with like ants all over her tits. Do you remember that one?
I don't remember ants. I definitely remember April Fool's Day. But I
Do you
remember I
remember
used
all
to
those-
wander around the video store just staring
Yeah.
at the VHS horror covers. I love them.
Those were my favorite, like Basket Case. That one was a creepy one.
Monkey Shines.
Monkey Shine.
Do you remember all those Elvira movies? Were they porn?
No, they were like no.
They're like horror comedies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember
I liked Elvira.
the place that was around the block from where I grew up. They had a lot of VHS tapes, and it was a lot of Elvira stuff.
Wait,
Yeah.
do you remember the plot for Monkey Shines?
No.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it was about like a paraplegic dude who got a helper monkey.
A what?
Like a helper monkey, like a
Okay.
service monkey,
Okay.
but it was like an
Oh,
evil.
okay.
It was like an evil service monkey.
I
And
do not remember.
the monkey started killing people and shit. It was just
Oh
like
my
an evil monkey.
God.
I don't remember if it was like maybe the monkey was possessed with the soul of a more evil dude, but the monkey
Like
started.
Like an Egyptian god, because at the same time they opened up a casket.
Yeah, like the monkey
don't
was
know.
standing there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I was a paraplegic and they came back to me with like a service monkey, I'd say, no, thank you. I'll wait for a service dog. They
I've
should give
seen
you an
monkey
animal.
shine.
They should give you an animal that you can ride.
Like a
You're not
donkey.
going to be able to get around.
Like a service
Like a
donkey.
service. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
And then they just lock you into the saddle, so you just kind of play off that you're like a centaur or something.
Yeah, and then once a day somebody changes your diaper, but the donkey walks you over to this house where other people are getting their diapers changed.
You know
think
what I was thinking?
he was on the
Oh,
phone with like the service people, like, where's my service dog? When am I getting it? And then they were finally just like, give him a
We're getting
monkey
it.
to get him off our backs. They were
Give
like,
him a
isn't that
monkey.
monkey evil? Didn't he kill all of the? They were like, this guy won't stop fucking calling. Just give him the monkey.
If I was paraplegic, I wonder how long I could last before I wanted to get propofol to death.
So fat, like there's no part of me that would be like, well, let me learn how to fly a plane with my nose. Like I would.
Oh, no.
That would take so many hours.
Yeah.
Also, who's letting you in the plane? You're like, trust me. Let me try this.
That's what I wondered about the lady with no arms. Like, I get that, you know, it's like a triumph, you know, over adversity, feel good story, but like, there was nobody in her life that was like, no, you don't have arms. You can't fly a plane.
This is crazy.
This is crazy.
If that person was in my life
do
and they told me they were going to fly a plane, I would just encourage it. I would encourage anything they wanted to do.
That's
You
because
can't
you're a
even
positive
build a
person.
paper airplane. Of course you can't fly an actual plane.
I would encourage them to do it. I would never get in a plane with them that they flew, but I would definitely encourage them to learn how to fly a plane.
Yeah, I just picture you just getting your like beach chair and sitting on the runway to the side of it and just cheering them on while they practice flying.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if you don't have use of your arms and legs. Like, why even keep them? Yeah, some people have no use and they just still have those body parts.
Yeah, like in a sling or something, just for their whole lives.
Yeah, so I just like
Ooh.
cut it all off. I'd be like, can I just be a head?
I feel like that would be a good storyline, is that you find out if you don't use your body parts in a few months that they fall off. So every now and then you're like, shit, I don't think I've used my right arm in a while. Like, you got to start using it or I'll just fall off.
Good reason to go on a hike.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think you could only go into porn if you have no arms and legs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Nobody's being like, oh, what a comeback.
What?
What an inspiration. She's out there working.
Why not? I mean, I think that if that was someone in my life, I would support them doing porn.
I just think
Yeah,
that,
over flying a plane, for sure.
Yeah.
If I was her dad, I would be like, honey, this flying planes dream is ridiculous.
How about we get you into porn?
There's got to be some weird sub-genre of people that want to see a lady with no arms get banged, and maybe that's more your speed.
That's
You
not a
can
bad
do that.
idea.
You just have to lay there. I just like to see that as like the last story of the news. Like, here's something that'll uplift you guys. Woman in Minnesota with no arms and legs is making it happen for herself. She got into porn. She's made so much money. You can do it.
I mean, that is a unique angle, especially porn is oversaturated, just like comedy. If there was like a stump just doing comedy, they would fly right to the top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Comedy.
Easily catapulted.
It's so funny because you said catapulted. It made me think of them in one of those.
That would be my job. I would just, if I had no arms and legs, I would just be a freak show and let you catapult me where you could see that at like a carnival for $50.
I
Yeah,
would
but
wear.
then people would come out and try and get that whole industry shut down. Like you can't earn a buck. Like
That
when you
sounds,
used to like when they used to have midget tossing, but then everyone flipped out that you can't. But it's like, well, fuck else is he going to earn money?
and then
Yeah.
also you're just taking away his way to earn an income.
I know. And then I'm
I
like,
would-
I signed up for this.
I'd wear you like a baby Bjorn in the front, so you could still get out and stuff.
Like, you're my manager.
Yes.
Wait, wouldn't
I
that
would
be
still
funny
like-
if you had to stand there on stage while she did her set in the Baby Bjorn?
As long as I could go on my phone, I'd be fine with it.
Right. Like you're not
Oh my
part of the
God.
act. You're just looking at Facebook while she
Just
does her
There-
bit.
ordering stuff off Amazon.
Oh,
while
yeah.
While you're doing your funnies.
There is a doc on HBO that I was fascinated about. It was these two girls, they're sisters, but they're parasitic twins. So one grew out of her head and she had to carry her around on like a little perch with wheels. And they talked. They had personalities and they were able to talk. And one wanted to be a country singer. So while
Yes.
the other one was doing her goal of being a country singer, she would put a blanket over her.
Like she was a bird. Just put
Yes.
a blanket on her head.
Who is it? Jimmy Schubert has like an amazing 10-minute bit about those exact twins.
It was you don't want to laugh, but it was like the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, that you just have to like, oh, my sister's doing her thing right now. Let me just kind of fade out a little bit. Like they would just put a blanket over her.
They shared one body though, right?
They were conjoined at the head, and one was able to walk around normally, but in order to like fully walk around normally, she had to put her sister on a perch
Like a
to
bird.
alleviate the pressure of holding somebody up by your head. So she had
Okay.
to like, so then
So they all-
her sister would be like this next to her head, and she could talk normally like this.
Yeah.
So
But they only had
Yeah.
one body, right?
yeah, one had like I think this one out of the head had her own little body, but it wasn't as fully formed as the other one. One was like, if she could, they could separate, and the one with the full body probably could have existed on her own. The other one might have had problems and not survived.
That's gotta be a
I'm like-
difficult relationship, knowing at any moment your sister could get rid of you if she really wanted a normal life.
Yeah.
No, this looks like, I don't know if you could see.
I
That
can
looks
see,
like
yeah.
that looks like two bodies.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I
Yeah.
just remembered it felt like that one girl out of the head was smaller, but it looks like she has
is.
a full body.
She's clear. She's on some kind of. You were right about the perch thing. She's
Oh,
definitely on
you're
some
right.
kind of.
She has
Yeah.
a tiny body.
But also,
yeah.
like they would date.
Yeah.
Like one had a boyfriend and the other had a different boyfriend, which fucking blows my mind. That there's like single women out there that are perfectly fine. But
Isn't that funny? Yeah, that there's girls that are like, I'm having such a hard time finding a guy. And you're like, I think it might be you, because these girls are doing fine.
I know, like I have this friend who has a sister growing out of her head, and they both have boyfriends. Like maybe you're just an asshole.
It's so much pressure to get along with your sister at all
I
times.
know.
This would be not that there's ever like a great time in history to have a conjoined twin, but I bet you quarantine is the worst time ever.
For conjoined twins.
Yeah. Like now,
Yeah.
like you can't even go out now. You're just stuck at home with another person growing out of your rib cage.
Ugh. I would
Yeah,
just be
unless
like,
you're
kill
really
me.
lonely. I just feel like conjoined twins don't happen as often anymore.
Probably not. I think most of them probably get terminated.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I mean, I would
'Cause-
have to ask my mother if any point she knew this could have happened. Because I'd be like, why did you not terminate us?
Well, life is precious.
And I've asked her what the fuck she was on.
I
don't
don't
know.
even know. Are those girls still alive? I mean, this was over 20 years ago that I saw that HBO doc.
Do they die at the same time?
I don't know. I guess you kind of hope the one that dies early kind of falls off.
I don't know.
That
if
would
that's how
suck,
that
especially if like
happened. I don't think
She's
that's
almost
what
out of
happened.
here.
what if one of them dies? Like, what are their like? What if they want to be cremated?
I guess
Like,
you just put a lighter to your head. You're like, she's out of here.
It's like, do I do that, or do I have to now drag a coffin around for the rest of my life?
I would just
I
be
don't
worried.
know.
I'd be worried I'd wake up and my conjoined sister was just sawing me off. Like that would just be like, what's going on? Be like, oh, we're no longer connected.
I'm moving out.
I'm done.
I got
gonna
a
go be
career in
big
country
star.
singing. She never made it. That's how bad she was. If you can't make it as a conjoined twin, I don't know what to say.
Well, that's because she went in the country. Like, if she went in the comedy, they would have made it
Yeah.
immediately. Yeah.
She didn't know. She had no idea.
They would have
I
had
wish I
like
could have helped her.
some like funny stage name.
Yeah. I would have gone to see them. I bet you that she would have had like a killer like 5 minutes.
Imagine doing a bringer show with them and they went on first. The whole audience would definitely leave.
Yeah, you're like, I can't follow that.
No way.
You'd have to come up with jokes to just like where you have to shit on them.
And then that's not going to be a good look.
No. I don't know.
I couldn't.
Ken,
Like,
are
as a
you
white dude, I definitely couldn't shit on conjoined twins on the same show as me.
hell
Definitely
no.
not.
I don't, unless you're like Bill Burr famous, you could maybe get away with it. And then everyone's like, yeah, finally somebody said what we were speaking or thinking of. Are you doing any shows on the road? Have you started to get any road work? Because some people are starting to do the road.
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
I'm not like a big road comic anyway, like traditional normally.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it's like,
I have some things like we've talked about. We're doing Moon Tower in September, and I wonder what comedy's going to look like then. I have some dates for August and September, but I can't see them happening.
yeah, that's where I'm at right now too. I did turn down, we talked about it. I got one in for Altoona, Pennsylvania, and I was like, it was for $400 and it was like an 8-hour Greyhound bus ride that I was like, this isn't worth it.
No way. Especially you could possibly get sick from somebody else on there.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
worth it.
If you could drive, it might be, but 8 hours on a bus.
Yeah, I don't have a car. So I would have spent all my money renting a car to get to the gig. And I don't really picture Altoona being really fun.
No, Altoona's awful.
It's not.
I used to go there to visit my aunt every year who was dying.
Yeah.
Were you happy when she finally died so you didn't have to go anymore?
Yes and no. I mean, she hated us so much that she paid for us to go to Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was like, the only thing worse than dying is having the Appalachians here.
My God.
You're so awful.
Is this on your mom's side?
My dad's side.
Oh, okay. Yikes. Where can we find you? Because we're gonna have to wrap it up. Oh, Joe's naked.
Ooh,
That would help. That would help our ratings.
Joe, get on here.
Maybe. Are you on Instagram, Ken?
Yeah,
Or
Ken
where do you want
Krantz.
people to follow you?
Ken Krantz comic, Instagram or Twitter.
He has a podcast.
I have a fun podcast called Why
Oh,
Bother?
what's it called?
Why
Why
Bother
Bother?
with 3-2 and Ken.
What do you guys talk about on there?
It's
Just
a
stuff
lot
Why
like
Bother?
this. Yeah, it's a lot of shitting on conjoined twins and armless people.
Well, people definitely love that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to kick people when they're down. That's our motto.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why punching down ever went out of style.
it's coming back.
It does seem like COVID, like all of the like outrage, it does seem like all of it went away super fast.
It will come back though when things level off again.
I feel like it's back. There's that lady that just got fired from everything in Central Park and got her dog taken away from her. She got canceled.
But that's different. That's not like people being offended by jokes. That
Right.
lady
Yeah. I'm
was-
talking about like comedy outrage.
Oh,
Yeah.
comedy outrage.
Yeah.
I
Although
haven't
Jimmy
seen that.
Fallon just came out and apologized for doing blackface 20 years ago.
If you're Jimmy Fallon, you have to. Do you know what I mean? He's on NBC or CBS or one of those networks. He's not
He's
actually
got to sell.
he doesn't actually do stand-up. You know what I mean? So like you definitely have to apologize if you're him. And I don't even think he meant to do it with malice, but you have to apologize. What's he gonna do? It's not like he's going on the road. He's doing, you know what I mean? He's a host of a TV show.
Did you see the apology though? Where he thanked everyone for holding him accountable?
Yes, of course. That's what you
I'm
have
so
to do.
bad at it. I'm so bad at holding myself accountable. Like all of us are bad at
I think comics just have a different threshold for jokes and edginess, whereas he's not really a comedian, you know, like also,
and he's probably just getting pressure to do it.
Also, isn't he friends with Chris Rock? I mean, it was probably just a joke. I can't see him doing it maliciously, but you gotta apologize.
No, he was just doing a character, and also SNL. It's not like he wrote the sketch. Probably it was a writer, and it went through all these producers, and then NBC aired it. Like
Lorne greenlit it. Yeah, there was like a whole team of people that were like, "Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this sketch."
Yeah, but
especially for that time period.
Yeah, he's not like a stand-up comic though. You know, I think if a comic did it, and that was the case 10, 20 years ago, they'd have been like, oh, man, I was really just kidding. Me and Chris Rock were friends. It was a joke. But he's a host of an NBC. You know, he's not going to give up his cushy job making millions of dollars where he's he's not really being authentically himself anyway. So who really cares if he apologizes? Yeah, I would apologize. If I was him in his situation, I would apologize. There's nothing else you can do.
If I had anything to lose, I'd apologize.
That's what we always said. If it means losing millions of dollars, then of course we're gonna apologize.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry that we talked about the conjoined twins.
Adrian just issues a blanket apology after every episode.
I will just be like, I'm sorry. I'm usually really good about holding us accountable during our podcast, but I got really distracted that day.
But thank you, guy on Twitter, for holding me accountable.
Yes, guys, I'm sorry for everything I've ever said. This is my moment right now of being held accountable.
Oh yeah, we just do it every now and then just to cleanse the palate.
Guys, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sarah, are you sorry?
I'm sorry. And then I'll maybe start just putting a disclaimer up front being like, anything that we say on here, we are so sorry.
We're very sorry. I'm the most sorry right now that I've ever been in my whole life.
And then we're like, I know I keep making the same mistakes. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and I'm like the most sorry after I say it.
Like immediately after it comes out of my mouth, I'm just so sorry.
And then I'm like, I want to just kill myself right now.
Please don't. Take that back. Are you sorry you said that? Please be sorry.
I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are going through depression.
Don't do it.
Suicide's not. I'm sorry for saying that.
Well, guys, thank you for watching. Follow Ken. Listen to his podcast. Him and Ritu are both very funny.
Yes.
Don't say anything. Fun. Don't say anything that's mean, okay? And if you do, apologize right away.
Always apologize.
Maybe instead of Thanksgiving, instead of going around the table saying what we're thankful for, you should just go around the table saying what you're sorry for.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
all the bad shit you've done that year. I am so sorry.
I'm so thankful for all of the stuff that I'm sorry about.
So thankful you all held me so accountable
Thank you.
for all the horrible things I've said.
Can you imagine just hanging out with friends that hold you accountable for everything that you've done?
No.
I wouldn't want to hang out with them.
I would hang out with the conjoined twins. I'd rather that.
Yeah, than
I'm sorry I said
having
that.
a friend that calls you out. Yeah.
I just apologized for it, and then I did it again.
All right, we're sorry for this podcast.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm alive.
Yeah, I'm sorry I agreed to this.
Guys, follow Ken
Hey.
to his podcast.
No, I had so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Okay,
Yeah,
bye, guys.
thanks for doing this. Bye.